Hi guys, Alex here with Inside. Welcome to another edition of a project review. Today I'm going to be talking about a closed sales at the moment project from Meraas called Solaya. And those of you who've been following me along know that I tend to favor the highest yield investments. And generally when people ask, what about buying something that's 40 minutes away from the water, or something from a lesser quality or maybe a lesser known developer? At the end of the day, many projects will make you money, but I like to focus on what makes you the most, or what has the highest potential for growth. And so generally I end up attracting investors and working with people who want to make the most money rather than save money, simply because that's my mindset, that's my philosophy, and I tend to work with people who view the world similarly. So when it comes to this project, right now, the information is somewhat limited, and they're going through a closed sales process, but as it's a bigger master plan, there will be releases happening down the line. I wanted to highlight it for you, and stay tuned until the end to find out what kind of investment it's actually good for, as there are different types, and whether it's good for living. So if we take a look at the map, we have the beach line in Dubai, and I've covered in previous videos Dubai Islands, which by the way is going to be seeing some new interesting developments soon, potentially on Island E. Then we have Dubai Maritime City, which is now renamed to Jumeirah Peninsula, where Omniat's Beyond, let's say, daughter company is the master developer, covered in a previous video. And then we have the remainder of Dubai's beach line, from Dubai Harbor, Bluewaters, Palm Jumeirah, and generally this is the most expensive real estate, and expensive is relative, along the coast. When it comes to appreciation potential, just think through it logically. Anything that's limited in quantity will continue going up in price simply because of limited supply, and limited supply in Dubai is the coastline. Yes, sure, companies have started building lagoons, etc., away from the water, and that's all well and good, but when it comes to pure appreciation potential and the number of tourists that a particular location sees, generally it's always going to be the prime areas here near the water. And when we talk about, for instance, Marsa Al Arab, near the Burj Al Arab, some of the highest price per square foot areas in Dubai. If we move down, we see Bulgari here, Bulgari Island, Jumeirah Bay, one of the most expensive locations in Dubai, where I'll cover this in more detail soon, but Bulgari Lighthouse is being built here, which is I think one of the highest price per square foot projects in all of UAE. And then we have a couple islands here, which is where we're going to be talking about today. So here we have the community of La Mer, and a new project here from Meraas is going to be launching several buildings along this J1 beach. There's also going to be another secret project in a neighboring island, but we're not going to be talking about that today. We can reach out to me privately. It will be higher end still compared to the one I covered today. So the project, as I mentioned, is called Solaya. It's 9 buildings along the La Mer beach. So we have 3 buildings on one side and 6 buildings here. Generally, there are between 6 and 10 floors. And guys, get this, it's between 18 and 27 units total per building, with one exception for the 10th floor buildings, which is a few more units. No more than 5 units per floor. What this means is you have a lot of privacy, very few units. If you've been to the location, as you'll see from the video where we go on site, here there's some, let's say, remaining commercial areas that are being demolished. Same thing here on this island. There's some existing structures here that are going to be demolished and built over, which opens up a different side of Dubai, where just because there is a building or, for instance, an airport or anything else standing there at the moment does not mean that's going to be the case down the line. And things that are maybe not fitting in with the vibe of the city or the luxury level of a particular location can be fairly easily demolished and built over with something modern. We take a deeper look here. We have buildings you start to see Meraas's similar style. And by the way, this project is designed by Foster & Partners, who design Omniat's Dorchester collection buildings, which are some of the highest end projects here in the UAE, as well as, for instance, they built the spaceship campus for Apple in Cupertino in California. So they're very well known. And here, I want to cover the location a little bit more and talk through it beyond what you're going to see in the on-site videos. So all in, very low, let's say low mid-rise buildings here along the La Mer beach. And what's the main things here to pay attention to is this is going to be a fairly green community with a lot of infrastructure for residents being added. You have a beach, though this is a public beach. Very few people generally go here. The water, as you'll see, is beautiful, and it reminds me sometimes of Al Jurf, maybe a little bit closer to Saadiyat. There is a segmentation of beaches in Dubai, and perhaps I'll cover this in a different video, but depending on if you're on the Palm or if you're in a Beachfront or on Kite Beach or here, you're going to have very different experiences with the water. And this is, I would say, amongst the better ones, simply because you have actual waves, you have an open view to the sea without other structures and islands obstructing the view. There is going to be a lot of high-end restaurants, some nice cafes generally in this area. So you have plenty of options to choose from. And this is meant to resemble, let's say, a different version of Bulgari, which also a community designed by Meraas, same with Bluewaters, and a number of other communities. And in general, when Meraas builds something, you'll notice that they tend to build, let's say, high-end communities that are self-contained and that follow a similar style. There's nothing super crazy about the architecture compared to, for instance, like Omniat or some of the other developers in these price ranges, but they tend to focus on exclusivity and cohesiveness of a community. So for instance, the pricing here will be between 6,000 and 7,000 dirham per square foot. And before you say that's expensive, look, it's all relative to where the price is today versus where it's going. And so there's no one bedrooms at all, no studios in these projects. It's starting with 2 bedrooms, which start at around almost 2,000 square feet. So they're quite spacious. And this is built for people who value privacy, people who value a certain level of lifestyle where they want to be on the water. They like having beach access. They don't want a lot of other people around. And look, in my experience, generally, when we're staying at the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons, or flying, whether it's first class or business or private, generally part of the reasoning is to have privacy, peace of mind, and to be surrounded by people who view the world in similar ways, and perhaps with whom you can make good networking connections. If we just go through, here's another view. You have 3 buildings, 3 buildings, and 3 buildings here. So they're a little bit spread out, and they're going to be launched over the course of time. So as can be expected, this is a high-end building. Similarly to a hotel, you're going to have valet, you're going to have concierge, security, everything. And of course, also a la carte services like flower arrangements, spa services, laundry, food and beverage, etc., as can be expected from a building of this level, and why the service charge is between 40 and 50 dirhams per square foot. But when we start to take a look at some of these renders, these are going to be the views that you have. Beach, Burj Khalifa, all in one, which is a rarity in Dubai. So it's kind of its own oasis in the heart of the city. And if you remember the location, you're very close to downtown, to City Walk, to Dubai Mall, to the fountains. So in general, you're in a really beautiful location. So you can imagine yourself just hanging out here with friends towards the end of the day. The residences, as I mentioned, between 6 and 10 floors, usually under 30 units for each building, which is very few. Here, the composition, there's only 4 2-bedrooms, guys, even in any of these. So generally, these are aimed at families and people who have a larger family size. And so for those of you who are looking for like 3, 4, 5 bedrooms or penthouses, this is a good location to look at. There are a couple others. For instance, what can this be compared to? Views, water, downtown. I think really, really beautiful and serene location. Let's take a step back and say, okay, what can this actually be compared to? Well, look, if we talk about investment potential, ready properties in Bulgari at the moment are between 10 and 12,000 dirham per square foot. They're between 20 and 25 million dirham for a 2-bedroom. What else? For instance, in Bluewaters, it's between 8 and 9,000 at the moment, but I would say it's much less of a private community than this will be with only 9 buildings. And also you have a beach here. Some clients also can compare this to Peninsula residences from H&H, but I think this has the upper hand simply because it's on a beach. I think it's more green versus Peninsula tends to be a little bit more concrete focused, at least from my personal standpoint. And look, if you want to go higher end still, it's also possible there's nearby projects from Meraas that we're not going to talk about today, but they have 4 and 5 bedrooms as well as villas that, the 4 and 5 bedrooms start at 50 to 80 million, villas of 350 million plus. That's for people who value, let's say, the next level of luxury. And no matter which level you're at, the important thing to know here is there are nuances across the neighborhoods. It's important to know what is actually around you, what kind of crowd, what's going to be built there. And, just because something is branded doesn't make it actually good. So for instance, I mentioned in a prior video, for instance, Armani residences on the Palm, when we met, and they had 2.9 meter ceiling height, which is fairly small for a luxury project. So there's some nuances that coming in from the outside, you're not necessarily going to know. And that's why I recommend that when I work with my clients, I'm meeting together with their entire family. Sometimes, it's husband and wife. Sometimes it's additional people in the family business. They're a finance manager who together we're coming up with their strategy for relocating here, as well as finding the optimal place, optimal furniture, designers, etc. Because I'm working with them as, let's say, a turnkey real estate and financial concierge who then manages their portfolio over the years. I'm not interested in one-time sales. Really, it's for me, it's a long-term relationship business. Some of my clients know me for over 10 years. So coming back to this one, look, the appreciation potential here for 2 bedrooms, they're going to be between 12 and 15 million dirham. And so you can already see they can easily be 20 plus if we compare it to, for instance, nearby Bulgari. So the appreciation potential is definitely there. From a rental standpoint, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. The rental yield, probably not going to be there, but generally you don't buy these types of properties for rental yield. From a living standpoint, I think this is great. You have cafes, you have a beach, you have kind of a unique vibe in La Mer, which does feel like a European, French city rather than Dubai. So it's a different vibe. And in general, you're, working with a developer here who's built high-end communities and know what they're doing, as well as, designed by Foster & Partners. We're on site in La Mer in Dubai, where Solaya will be built. It's part of a new master plan from Meraas, with 3 buildings on one side, 6 on the other, with this beautiful beach in the middle. And take a moment just to listen. And you hear really nice waves, nice breeze. The water is super crystal clear, it's blue, it's beautiful. You don't get a lot of places like this in Dubai. For instance, in Beachfront or in JBR or on the Palm, you're not gonna have water like this or a beach like this. So imagine yourself waking up, having a cup of coffee with your family, maybe going for breakfast in a nearby cafe, stopping by the beach, and you can already start to imagine what it would be like to live here. Everything you guys see behind me is going to be where the first 3 buildings in the master plan are. Remember, it's only a few units more than 20, between 20 and 30 units per building, so it's very, very private. And over there you see the existing La Mer community, and at the entrance here to the beach, this will be taken out, and you'll have 3 buildings as the first part of this 9-building master plan. We'll show you the other one soon, but just so you get a sense, only 3 buildings right next to a beach, beautiful water, cafes, restaurants, parks, and walkways. In this part of the master plan, you'll see some older buildings where the commercial tenants have been moved out, and this part will be expanded to become a park where you can go for running, walking, meditating, yoga when you're living in this community. And I'll take you to the cafes and restaurants so you can feel the vibe of that as well. But here you already have a lot of beautiful trees. You have the beach nearby, you have cafes along the boardwalk, and this part will be expanded. And if you notice, you don't hear any road noise, and you're also, by the way, only 15 minutes away from downtown Burj Khalifa and Dubai Mall in the heart of the city. And the vibe here is, maybe you already feel it, you can actually relax. So there's not that many places like that in Dubai, where there's no commercial towers, where there's no people in business suits running around. You actually, unlike JBR, you have plenty of space on the beach. It's not a super frequented area by tourists, so it's very private and can be, I think it's one of the major selling points of this community. If you look to the right, you'll see a bunch of high-end restaurants here with beach clubs. You have some really beautiful cars parked outside. And historically, this area is mainly for locals, the Jumeirah area. This is a pocket that is freehold, where expats are buying real estate. And you know, the locals here have a great quality of life. They know the best places, so you can't go wrong with this location. We're right now on the other side of the Jumeirah beach, where the additional 6 buildings of this master plan will be. Each one very, very private, with only 20 to 30 units per building, all low-rise. And this part will be taken out and replaced by buildings. And so I could certainly imagine myself having a beautiful view like this with a cup of coffee in the morning with my family, perhaps buying something here and then reselling it, holding on to it for maybe 3, 5, even 10 years, as areas on the water in Dubai with this kind of atmosphere are rare. And as Bulgari and Bluewaters and other locations have already proven. So overall, even if you're watching this video later, please reach out to see whether this is a good place for you to live. Happy to work with you to help you fit into your portfolio and see other options for you and your family. Once again, this project is launching now, called Solaya by Meraas, who've built some of the most incredible master plan communities here in the UAE with, let's say, a high degree of exclusivity and refinement. And my name is Alex. I'm always happy to receive your comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.